10-team tournament in SoCal the following weekend. So we'll talk about that in next week's show. All right, Everett, it is time.
Okay. Well, if you are a member, if you watch the show, you're probably a member of the Discord and you've been ripping on it with us for the past few days. But if you're a member of the Volleyball World, you'll know that Volleyball World, the aptly named organization, has come out with the top 12 best players per gender of 2021. Now, I'm trying to find my words here, Rob, because we said earlier that, you know what, Volleyball World is under, it's actually technically Volleyball World is a brand new institution, right? We've heard that it's only been around since March. It hasn't even been around for a year, but they were looking to do better in the media department. And how do we sell volleyball better? So let's do a top 12 players, right? There's 6 players on the court, so let's do a top 12. But when you're doing this, when you're doing this, like, well, yeah, it's almost like an all-star team, like first team, second team all-stars, right? Preferably, I'd kind of probably want 14 there, so you can have, you've got the 2 liberos as well. But I digress, because it's not like they followed any type of format here. It's not like they had any type of criteria for how to determine who was the top 12. It seemed like they had completely different picking criteria for the women to the men, and it just blows my mind that we can have worldwide superstars like Wilfredo Leon get left off, nowhere to be seen.
I'm gonna read
on the world top 12.
I'm gonna read down the lists. So from 12 to 1. Here's the men's. 12, Bruno from Brazil. 11, Yuki Ishikawa, Japan. 10, Bartholomew Chinese, France. 9, Lucarelli, Brazil. 8, Ivan Yakovlev, Russia. 7, Alessandro Micheletto, Italy. 6, Maxim Mikhailov, Russia. 5, Zhenya Grebennikov, France. 4, Jean Patry, France. 3, Irvin Igapet, France. You sense a pattern here. 2, Luciano De Checo, Argentina. 1, Antoine Brizard, France. And for the women, 12, Isabel Haak, Sweden. 11, Ada Erdem, Turkey. 10, Makris, Brazil. 9, Jordan Poulter, USA. 8, Arina Fedorov-Tseva, Russia. 7, Gabi, Brazil. 6, Jordan Larson, USA. 5, Carol Gataz, Brazil. 4, Tiana Boskovic, Serbia. 3, Paula Egonu, Italy. 2, Justine Wong Arantes, USA. And 1, Kim from Korea. I don't even know where to start with this. I really don't. Let's just start with the number ones, because Antoine Brizard of France, let's just look at what he did this year. He won an Olympic gold medal. He was a starting setter for a French team that won a historic Olympic gold medal. And that was it. That was literally all that he did. He was not the MVP.
But he was on the bench for VNL.
He was on the bench for VNL.
And you're the setter for a team that has 1, 2, 3, 4 other guys on this list, right? This isn't like Aaron Rodgers out there just dealing with one wide receiver. He's got plenty, and he works within a French system that that works together as a collective. But that's the French system. You don't have one guy who's running the show. Sure, you're going to have one per game, but you work together as a system.
There is literally no argument to be made by any metric ever, or by the eye test, or any combination of resumes or achievements in the year 2021. There is nothing, absolutely no reason ever that you can put Antoine Brizard as the number 1 player in the world. And I like Antoine Brizard. I think he's a very good setter. I absolutely love him.
Led Piacenza to a win this weekend. Fantastic.
Totally. Great pickup for Piacenza. Lost in the, CV Cup finals with ZSP last year. Absolutely no logical or illogical way ever can you put him as the number 1 player in the world on any list for any reason. And in the same vein, the actual best player in the world, according to literally anybody who has ever watched a volleyball match, Wilfredo Leon, is not even on this list. What are we talking about here? The actual best player in the world, who anybody who has watched a real match of volleyball, not that's not an anime
He's
or
Mike
not
Tyson
including
out there.
exclusively Japanese players, anybody who has actually watched real volleyball knows that Wilfredo Leon is the best player in the world, and he's not even on this list. It's not like he's not top 5. It's not like he's not top 10. He is the best player in the world, and he is excluded from a top 12 list in any category. That just makes me want to throw it in the garbage right there.
For me, it seems it's very obvious, and I think that this is a huge problem in volleyball. It's very obvious that the FIVB, Volleyball World, whatever it is, completely disregards what happens in the club scene.
Yep,
completely disregards what happens in continental events, right? And just completely disregards reality, right?
So
because you're gonna like
throwing
to Checo at 2, throwing to Checo up at 2. I'm not mad about that. Right?
No, he won a Scudetto with Lube, which I'm sure they don't even know what that is, but he won a Scudetto with Lube. Good performance. Yep. He led Argentina to their first Olympic medal since the 80s, a bronze in the Olympics. That is an incredible achievement.
Played Champions League.
Yep.
Right? But if you're gonna award Antoine Brizal for being the starting setter for France, right? Like he's not fucking Tom Brady out there. Like he's not leading this team to the glory, right? But if you're gonna award him for to lead France, where's Bruno Lima on this list?
Right.
Dude led the Olympics in scoring for Argentina. It doesn't matter what he did in the other stuff, right? Because we're just talking about the Olympics, right?
Well, apparently we are just talking
about the Olympics. There's 3 setters on this list, which is questionable, right?
Yeah,
no Mir Abdelaziz.
What did Bruno win this
Robert Landy Simon. Like, what are we doing with this list?
All right, so I'm gonna the way I've been thinking about this list the whole time is strictly in the time window of 2021. What did these players accomplish? And I think that that this list doesn't make sense given that window of time, but I think that was at least the idea. So let's see what happened. What notable things happened? Not even just individuals, but teams in the year 2021. Okay, Zaksa Kedrzers and Kozle won the Champions League. They were the first Polish team to win Champions League since the 70s. How many of their players are on this list? None. Zero players on this list. VNL. Brazil wins VNL. They beat Poland in the finals, and they have, 2 players on this list. But then Brazil goes on and fails to win an Olympic medal in kind of embarrassing fashion. That's apparently worth 2 players, where Zaksa gets 0. The Olympics happens. France wins the Olympics, and that alone gets 7 or 5 of their 7 starters onto this list. Then European Championships happens. Italy wins. An absolutely unbelievable, young Italian team wins the European Championships. France loses to the Czech Republic in the 8th finals. And 1 Italian player is on this list, Alessandro Micheletto. Then the beginning of the club season happens. Super Cups happen, big off-season transfers happen, meaningful matches in the beginning of the season, and not a single bit of that is reflected in this list in any way. And what the hell is Yuki Ishikawa doing on this list?
I'm glad you brought it up first, because I've just been sitting here being like,
what did he do this year? He didn't. He won. What was he? Milano CEV Challenge Cup. Great
CEV Challenge Cup
for an 8th place team in Italy. He got tied for 5th in the Olympics. I don't even know if Japan played in the Asian Championships, and I don't care. His Milano team is average. What on earth is he doing 11th in any world list? Also, why are there only 2 middles on this list? That's ridiculous. And why is one of those 2 middles Bartolomei Chinese? Because he is not a top 2 middle in the world, even though he won Olympic gold this year. Ivan Yakovlev belongs on this list, but Robert Landy Simon is not only the best middle in the world, he's a top 5 player, period.
100%.
Period.
Absolutely. He absolutely should be up there. I mean, to me, as I said, I feel like they have different criteria and different people making the men's list to the women's list. The men's list is lazy. The men's list is, let's look at who finished top 4 at the Olympics. right? We need to sprinkle Micheleto in there because he had a fantastic year. We need to get at least one Japanese player in there, and it's going to be Ishikawa because he was the top scorer, right? But that's what I'm going to do. It's a lazy list. This is a terrible list. Clearly, no volleyball person who actually watches volleyball created it. It's bad. On the women's side, right, it looks like they tried to go for legacy and for maybe like social interactions, right? Because Kim, who's at number one, they like to talk about how, you know, she was the top scorer for Korea at VNL. Finished 15th. 15th. Last place. 15th. Who the fuck cares? Who cares? And then that, you know, like push them to the a top 4 finish at the Olympics. You know what? That's great. But then they go on to mention her club season, how she helped her Shanghai team finish 3rd in the Chinese league right at the end of the year.
Honestly, the fact that Kim played in China, the fact that Kim played in China and didn't win the league is a demerit on her resume for the year. That's embarrassing. Like, what are we talking about?
Didn't she have Jordan Larson on her team? And back when you could have 2 foreigners, and
I believe she did.
Wasn't that the matchup, right? But then they go on to talk about how she's the first volleyball player to have over 1 million subscribers on her YouTube channel. I didn't even know she had a YouTube channel. That was news to me. So obviously it's not that big or that good because it's never, ever in my life come across my channels. I mean, I know it's in Korean, so maybe there's that language difference there. But, man, what are we doing here? Now, Justine Wong Arantes, I love. I fell in love with her watching the VNL this year. Like, I wish every libero in the world was like her. But number two, and you put, once again, at least she's on the list, right? At least she's on the list. The undisputed number 1, 76 in a game in a row win streak. Paolo Ogonu, European champion. Paolo Ogonu is 3rd.
She carries a team to Champions League in the midst of the greatest win streak volleyball has ever seen. She's the best player in the world. She is about to go become the highest paid volleyball player on the planet of either gender. And you put her 3rd behind a libero who all she did was win in the Olympics, which is an unbelievable achievement. But she's a libero and she did absolutely nothing of significance in club.
She plays in Germany. She plays in the Bundesliga.
Get out of here. And then like Kim, who it seems like the only, like, really, she didn't do very much this year. She had a not a noteworthy club season. Her team was horrible at VNL, and they somehow got to the semifinals in the Olympics before getting smoked 2 matches in a row. Like, Kim's the best player on a very bad team.
Even last year, like, she finished 2nd for her V League team, right? Like, so she's not out here changing the game.
Or carrying teams.
She retired. That's what she did. She retired from the national team, right? But like, if that's the case, like, should Gore Perrin be on the men's list? You know, like, what are we doing here? Like, Hawk coming in at 12.
That's insulting.
Like, you've got 1 setter on this list?
You've got Jordan Larson, the Olympic MVP, at 6. With Carol Gattaz in front of her. I didn't even know who that was until the Olympics this year. I'm not kidding. You have the token young superstar. Irina Fedorov-Seva is the Alessandra Micheleto of the women's list. Like, oh, this player,
she doesn't even play for a national team. She doesn't have a national team to play for.
Yeah, she does. She played for Russia. She was really good.
Did she actually play for Russia? I thought they were still figuring out.
No, you're thinking of a different player. No, she was outstanding on the national team this year. She was phenomenal. It's like, but she's the Micheleto of this list. Like, she was 17. She was actually a legitimately good player and was a meaningful player on a team that was good but not great at the Olympics. It's exactly what Micheleto did, and so they put him right in the middle of the pack because that people would riot if they didn't make that pick. But the rest of it, like Macris for Brazil, their setter just not all that good. Like, not even close to a top 12 player in the world, not even a little bit. Only 1 Turkish player on this list. Turkey had a really good year, and Ada Erdem of all people is a very confusing pick. Like, that makes absolutely no sense.
Where's Karakurt?
Karakurt was clearly the best Turkish player this year, and if you're going to pick a middle, you might as well pick Zara Gunish, who's the better player. Isabel Haak, who's incredible. Like completely carried probably the soon to be the best club team in the world in Vakifbank 12th. Like, come on. And like she played Eurovolley and was the only half decent player, was the reason why Sweden made it out of pools. Like the criteria for this list, you're right, are completely different from the men's, because the men's was just loaded with, it was like a strict like tunnel vision on the Olympics. This takes the actual results and the players who had meaningful impacts on the Olympics and throws it completely out the window. Like Kim, like what are we talking about? A libero at 2, the best player in the world who won 76 matches in a row, including the Champions League title at 3rd. She should be number 1, obviously. Like Tijana Boskovic, who's unbelievable 4. That's the only one on this list that I'm okay with. I think that is about where I would have put Boskovic for the year 2021. Jordan Larson. Jordan Larson needs to be significantly higher than 6. Carol Gattas should not be on this list. Gabi should be the only Brazilian player on this list, and that is only because of the club season that she had. Throw in like a Chiako Abogu.
Right? That would be a good I think maybe Jordan Poulter should be higher, given that she led the American team to like, hey, if you put Antoine Brizard at number 1 in the men, you should put Poulter at number 1, because guess what? Poulter had a way better club season with Busto, leading them to a top 4 finish at Champions League. They finished outside of the top 4 at Scudetto, but like, man, it just comes down to the inconsistency of the FIVB, of Volleyball World. We stat everything terribly. How can we put a libero up there when we have no idea on the defensive impact they've had in the game? We don't stat digs. We don't stat how many times they've received free balls and how many times that's been conserved, transition to a point. We don't stat setters. We don't stat, how many assists they have, how many one-on-ones they have, right? What like we need better stats in volleyball. It's so frustrating too, because every single team down to 14 U's are statting better than the FIV, right? A 14 U kid who the coach gives a freaking clipboard at the end, or maybe the iPad now, and you're gonna stat passing, you're gonna stat serving, you're gonna stat attacking and blocking. They do better stats than the FIVB. We have data volleyball that stats everything. Have you ever been if you've ever been with an international team during an international event, they have one person who works around the clock, and that is their data volley person, because these teams stat every single minute detail. And then when we get to the FIB, it's like we're back to 3rd grade finger painting. What are we doing?
Doesn't make sense.
Why?
I mostly just my biggest question is, what is even the point of this list from the very beginning? Why did we even bother to make this? What does the top 12 best players of 2021 even mean, and why do I care? It just does not make any sense. I'm finally catching up on the YouTube chat, because there's been a lot of very good discussion on this. I think the next thing to do is for us to make our own top 12 and to do it for next week's show, and I think that's a great idea. No Annie Drews,
like an apart show for just that.
Annie Drews literally carried the U.S. after the injuries. I agree. She should be on the list. Bigger embarrassment, this list or Shreveport Bossier City hosting the VNL? I don't know. That's actually a toss-up, and that is really saying a lot. Where's Jan Hadrava? Please unsubscribe from the channel immediately.
Cut.
Yeah, get out. I think we need to make some lists of our own and just not even talk about them that much, but just present them. Or maybe we can put it, I think we should put it on Instagram. We'll put it on Instagram at Volleyball Source and make a quick graphic about it, and put up our top 12 lists and compare it to this absolute laughing stock of a list that Volleyball World has put out, and we can have discussion there. I think that's what we should do.
For me, it comes down to there's just no consistent criteria within the FVB, within Volleyball World. Like every single time, it's coming from a different lens. And you know what? After listening to the interview with the new CEO of Volleyball World, I was excited. I really was. But hey, how many months in, like you're almost a year in, and you're still putting out garbage like this, and you want to turn around the sport like this? Like it's a slap in the face to our best players.
And it's a slap in the face, and to the fans that actually know what the hell they're watching. like the people that are in the Discord, the people that listen to this show, like the people who actually know what volleyball actually is and are able to draw legitimately meaningful conclusions from watching a match. And those are the people that you should be catering to because they are the foundation of your fan base. It's insulting to them because they clearly know that what you're putting out is an absolute joke and there's no point in putting it out in the first place. And I just don't understand it fundamentally. Why do we do this list? It would have been just significantly better to have never even started this. We would have saved Everett's blood vessels a lot of significant strain on this show, and I just don't get it.
My voice is like I feel like I was commentating with you because I just I'm so exasperated now. Like I've been in this sport in like the professional level now for a decade, for 10 years, and it's just like what we just keep on doing the same things over and over again, the same dumb mistakes. And like, it doesn't matter if it's at the provincial level or the state level or the national level or the international level.
Yeah, dude, I don't get it. So I want to know who, because it's not our new friend Finn Taylor, who I still want to interview on this show. I mean, I don't think he's so many levels above the person that is responsible for this list, and it's probably the same person in Volleyball World, like digital content and media, that are responsible for worshiping Yuki Ishikawa and Yuji Nishida all the time. That those people, there is a person or a set of people that need to be fired, and it is now my mission to find who those people are and to call for their jobs because of all these embarrassing pieces of content.
You know what? Here's I'm gonna put out this declaration.
All right,
Mr. Taylor.
Yeah.
I have much respect for you and everything you've done prior to coming to our sport. Now, if there's one thing you need to know about our sport is that the organization for which you represent has done a pretty terrible job promoting it and telling the story of it over the past forever, since the beginning of the sport, 1986, right? What is it? Back in Morgantown, Massachusetts, I believe that's the case. There's just never had done a good job.
Yeah, so terrible.
Your business, your company is located in Montreal. I am a Canadian citizen. I am legal to work in Canada. Bring me in as your volleyball expert. I know a thing or two about media. You know, up until last year, I had one of the most popular YouTube channels in all of volleyball media that was doing well over 1 million views a month. Not many other channels that were doing that. Thank you, Amazon, for taking it down. Still love you guys. But let someone who knows volleyball help. Because I have yet, in 10 years of working with the FIVB, I have yet to meet one person in the media scope who has a background in volleyball, who knows the sport to any degree. So someone needs that. If you look at tennis, you look at football, you look at any sport in the world, they have experts leading your media. You need an expert. We need experts to be out there. This isn't good enough anymore. You can't sit here and say, we're going to change the game. We're going to turn things around and put up bullshit like this. Like Rob said, it's a slap in the face to those who love this sport, those who pay attention to it.
And to the players who like see the list come out and they're just as confused as we are. I couldn't have said any of that better myself. The two of us combined know more about the sport of volleyball than the entire Volleyball World organization. And that is not an exaggeration. And that continues to show with every piece of crap that they put out on Instagram or the website or the YouTube channel or whatever. You need volleyball people in this game at the highest levels of organization. Look at all the good that Dan Manili did at the CEV. He was there for what, like 2 years, maybe 3 years, and he completely turned around the way that their digital content is presented. He like tripled their YouTube subscribers. And Dan, we absolutely love you, dude. You deserve all the credit in the world for this. The reason he was able to do that, one was making a tremendous leap in his personal life to move to Europe, but the other was because he is a volleyball person. He knows it. He gets it. He gets it to the level that we do. He loves the game. He understands what good volleyball looks like. He understands what the dynamics of leagues and what it's like to play on a team and everything that we've been desperately wanting these organizations to get. Dan got that, and he brought that to the CEV, and it showed. And I thank him for bringing me onto that organization where I can hopefully continue to make content that matters in his absence. Volleyball World needs people like Dan. Volleyball World needs people like Everett. Volleyball World needs people like me. And even though I have some kind of a platform with them with commentating the Superliga, they have completely failed to capitalize on the personalities of their commentators and use them for the betterment of volleyball media and giving those people platforms and promoting them and letting the fans know who commentators are so that their voices can be heard in the sport of volleyball. We're here on this show right now, both Everett and myself, asking you, inviting you to get us in the conversation, even hire us to take over and do immediately better jobs than what you have right now.
Well, at this point, I'll be a volunteer.
Dude, same.
I love Montreal. I'm fully bilingual. Je parle français bien. I can speak English. Let's go. Get me in the fold of things and start changing things, because it's so infuriating to watch. There's just so much disconnect. It's like, once again, 3 boomers in a trench coat. That's all the FIVB is. 3 boomers in the trench coat. Well, how do we follow what soccer does, and how do we get us on TV? It's done. It's over. Digital media is where we need to go.
Correct.
And these guys here and a few others, all located in our Discord, know what's up.
It's that simple. There are people out there with some level of platforms, like the two of us, like Dan, like there's so many people that actually get it and that want to be a part of this. Key Michael, another great example. They bring her into the bubble. Right. Bring her into the bubble to commentate VNL. She does a very good job. She has her own YouTube channel that has a painfully low number of subscribers for the quality of content that she puts out. And she gets it. She played professional volleyball. She played in the Olympics. Why are you not using people like that? Even about people like that. You have her. You have me. You had Dan at the CEV. Like those people are now on the radars of those organizations, and you're just not using them. That's the really confusing part. So here we are making a plea on this show. After this embarrassing list that you've just put out, Volleyball World, which again, you should be ashamed of, you have people here begging to get into the mix with you and help you with these problems that you don't even know exist because you're so blind to them because you don't understand what the game of volleyball is.
And they're probably patting themselves in the back for just executing this. like it's like a 5th grader doing a writing project. Like, good job, Timmy. God. You put it in. Like, goodness gracious. Because
it's literally it's the thanks for participating of digital media.
Literally, like, spam cookies in the chat, please. Because that's exactly what this is. 2 Jacks, Rob just locked himself into a full season of commentating Ravena games.
What's funny is that literally all the games I've been offered lately have been either extremely bad women's games or Ravena games. That's not a joke. I have one tomorrow that'll be the quickest embarrassing 3-0 of all time.
You don't have the English accent, mate.
I have 2 bad women's games this weekend. I just don't get it. Oh my goodness. I don't know what more there is to say about this. We have a couple other like brief items of volleyball news to get to before the show ends, but I can't wait to clip that bit. We should put it on Instagram. We should put it like everywhere in the world because I hope that catches the attention of somebody that actually matters, who can see this and who will. I hope that they're not offended by us calling them out for their embarrassing content, but will actually accept our offers to volunteer and actually fix this stupid game that we love so much.
And that's exactly it. Like, I'm willing to be a part of the solution.
Exactly.
Right?
We want to help. I'm literally offering to help.
If you want to bring me in, hear what I have to say, and don't take anything. I mean, I think you're stupid for that. But fine. Hey, at least we tried.
Yeah.
Right? At least we put the foot in the door. But this can't continue. It just brings me back to working for Volleyball Canada and them being like, okay, well, we're going to go promote this event that we have to the old age homes because we have events during the day, and those are the only people who are around. Like, my goodness. That is a real story of something that happened. So yeah, that's volleyball in a nutshell for me.